What is up, Shady Sports Network? I'm back here tonight on this Thursday Night Live with a very, very special guest, someone I consider one of the most respected coaches in all of arena football, Coach E.J. Burt. Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to have you on. So, right off the bat, you just entered the off season. That's obviously a process in its own. Going from the season to the off season, it can be kind of a crazy process. How has your off season been so far?
Right now, just changing my focus to things at home. In fact, you end up doing so much, putting up so much time in with football and stuff. Off seasons, you're spending more time with the family, so you trying to make up for time. And then whatever stuff you got going on in the off season. I actually am a teacher in the off season, and I have some youth programs and stuff that I work with. So I'm putting my time in there and just ready for keep myself busy. That way, once the off season starts rolling, free agency and all that stuff starts rolling for the Preds, I'm ready to roll. Got my mind refreshed and ready to go.
Definitely. So that was kind of my next question. Going to 2024, this offseason has been insane in itself. Will you be back with the Orlando Predators?
Yeah, that's the plan. So I'm ready to roll. So I'm here until I'm told not to be here.
Definitely, that's awesome. So the next question is, obviously another elephant in the room is the Orlando Predators announced to move from the NAL to the AFL. I mean, you were an AFL player yourself. How excited are you for the return of the AFL?
I'm very excited because it hurt me when they left in the first place. So I was around 2008 when they went down the first one of the first times, and so I was in the middle. I was like in my prime at that time. So I definitely didn't want to see it go then, and then it came back 2 years later. But I didn't come back with it, so I moved on to other things, and so it's I came along in the AFL, and it was sad to see it go, and I was happy to see it come back, and now to see the brand that I kind of grew up in come back, it's pretty exciting for me.
Definitely. So kind of going back to your time as a player, you had a very successful college career. You had a successful pro career in the arena game. What got you started on football, and was football always your number one sport?
Football was always my number one sport. Actually, when I was a kid, I didn't want to play. I just wanted to be out breaking stuff and being a little hoodlum when I was a little kid. And then my mom forced me to play football. And first time I got to hit somebody, that's when that love kicked in and never went away.
Definitely. So in high school, were you a multi-sport athlete, or were you just?
It was strictly football for me. Anything else was in the way for me. As I got older, I realized I probably should have got into some track, and it probably would have helped me out and things like that. Even wrestling helps you out as a football player. There's other sports that translate, but for me, and my mind frame was strictly football, and nothing else can get in the way. I wouldn't allow it.
Definitely. So, I mean, as a coach, do you think it's important for athletes to play multiple sports, or do you think it's important for them to stay committed to one sport?
Early on, I think it's important for you to play multiple sports. Like I said, you have things like wrestling that translate pretty well to this game. You have track that translates pretty well into this game. So early on, definitely play multiple sports. And if you get to be a senior and you're good at multiple sports, and keep it rolling. But for me, I think it's definitely important young, and then as you say you're a junior or senior, you get your mind made up. Football is what I want to do. Then go ahead and commit fully to football. But there's definitely other sports that can help you out and make you the player that you want to be. Even gymnastics and things like that can definitely help you out.
Definitely. We have a lot of comments here for you. A lot of love, a lot of players, a lot of your former guys showing love. You got this right here. But, after high school, you sat down and you looked at college opportunities. And now college back in the day was very different than it is now. I'm sure back in your day, you weren't sitting there looking at NIL deals or, what college school was going to offer you. or whatnot. What do you think about the current state of college football now compared to when you were coming up?
It's definitely different. Adding the whole money aspect of being able to make money is exciting for the young cats to be a part of. Back when I played, we had 3-a-day practices. It was just a pure all-out grind. They grinding out now, but they adding in dynamics that, I may or may not have been able to handle.
Definitely. When you sat down
back in college, go ahead.
Oh, I think your internet is freezing. Give me 1 second.
This is Burt, and you're watching Shady Sports Network. Tune in, hit that like button.
You might wonder, what do these guys do? Player signing announcements. I never in a million years thought you would actually come on to break this news. So without further ado,
we're back here. Just had a little bit of an internet issue. But yeah, Coach, what were you saying about NIL?
I was saying it's exciting that they get to experience things like that and make a little money. Me as a player, I was so focused on what I did, that dynamic might have messed with me a little bit. I might have lost focus a little bit. So it's hats off to the players nowadays that can balance the two. I may or may not have been able to handle it. You never know at this point, but hats off to the players nowadays in their support systems that are able to help them out and help them keep focused while they're making money.
Yeah. Coming up on my couple final questions for you. You went to college, you evaluated opportunities. When you committed to a school, what was the biggest thing that you were looking for?
Well, for me, when it came to school, I wanted to get away from home. I'm from Ohio, but I ended up staying because I think I just needed that year because, my grades weren't the best coming out of high school. And so I had to go to Akron, and I was on academic probation. And so, to get my grades up, and that's, if you can say that's a pivotal point in my career, really understood the whole academic piece. When I had to sit out, when you take away something that you love for a year, then you come back and you're more focused. Either you're gonna let that situation take hold of you, and next thing you know, you crumble, or you make your mind up like never again. And so, things that you go through kind of shape you.
And I agree with that. I think, what you're saying is really right. Like those moments kind of define you. When you went to college, after going through that experience, did it add an extra motivation to your goals?
Yes. Like I actually knew what I wanted at that point. I may have flirted with it a little bit, but I knew what I wanted. And then, I may not have went to the top school that I really wanted to go to for a year. They told me based on my grades and based on the whole situation, it's either stay Akron Youth and you get 3 years of eligibility, or you go to Division II and you get 4 years of eligibility. And to me, that wasn't even a question. I'm going D2 because I want my extra year. I wanted to get my year back. And so, I went to D2 and made the best of my situation.
That's really, really awesome to hear because, I know a lot of guys nowadays would have just stayed D1 and tried to, collect the money instead of, fighting for the spot, going to D2. When you went to D2, what was the difference in the competition gap, or was there any back in the day?
There's a difference because D1 is kind of stacked. Their second string and third string can play anywhere. In D2, who's serious and who's not. You may have a guy who's real good on the other team, but across the board, everybody's not the same. They may have a D1 caliber player on one side, at right tackle, but their guard may not be the same. Their center may not be the same. Their guard and tackle and tight end on the other side may not be the same. And so, like I said, the guys who are real good, who are D1 caliber or NFL caliber, whatever, they kind of stand out.
For
And
sure.
so that's the biggest piece. You know who's good and who ain't, and good coaches get the best out of the players that they got.
Definitely. And so as a coach, this past year, looking at the group that you had, it was really interesting. You had a certain group, and then a certain group came in and kind of had their way of doing things. What do you think was the biggest misunderstanding this year? And if you could go back and kind of reflect, what would one thing that you would change from this past year?
I mean, we had great players. We just needed to put them all in the right position and get the best out of everybody. There was just some situations that you can and couldn't control. You can't do nothing about that. All you can control is what you can control. So you get the best out of, whatever situation is handed to you, and hope everything else falls in line. It's not your place to try to play roles that you're not in a position to play.
For
So
sure.
just look back at it. It's nothing you can really do. It's the situation was in front of us. There are situations that we, as a whole unit, as a team, as a whole organization, we could have did better on, and as a whole, we didn't get the job done. So, all you do is move on from this point. You don't expect and look backwards and say shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Definitely. How did that affect you going into the recruiting process for this offseason for the Preds?
It makes me hungrier. It's hungry. It makes me even hungry for a championship because I came up with the Orlando Predators as a player, and I know what we deserve as an organization. So, all I can do is put my best foot forward and try to align this organization or put my best efforts into bringing the championship back here. That's all I can control, but it definitely makes me hungrier knowing that we underperform.
Well, Coach, it's been great having you on today. My final question for you is, you work with the youth. This whole episode, you kind of talked about being hungry, going after your goals. What is your biggest piece of advice for younger people? And as a teacher, how do you impact lives, and similar to how you do as a coach?
I mean, the thing is, what you would tell the youth is if you got your mind made up, don't let nobody change it. Like if you know what you want to go to NFL, it don't matter what anybody has to say, whether it's a family member, it could be your best friend all of a sudden tell you ain't gonna be nothing. Like, you know what, you just gonna be in the hood with me. You might as well just, stay here. Or I don't even know why you working out. Whatever. Nah, you cut anybody loose that ain't aligned with your dreams. Like, me coming up, I had cousins that would say something, or even close friends, whatever. If you said something I didn't like that was shooting down my dream, I ain't got no use for you. I can love you from afar. Whether it's family, if you ain't in line with my goals and my dreams, I got to put you to the side. I got to put you on the back burner. And as far as getting the best out of them, you find out what motivates, whether it is getting my mama a crib or, I want to be able to take care of my family. You find out what works for them and what motivates them. And you basically, that's how you approach them. That's how when they have a moment where they're down, all right, your mama would, how would your mama think if you was ready to quit on her? Or, man, that that NFL money, that sure can help your family out. Like for me, I bring things to light. I ain't a yeller, I ain't a screamer. I'll talk to you just like this. You may or may not like what I gotta say, but you gonna hear what I gotta say. And that's literally how I go. Find the right things to say. Like I said, I'd rather tell you the truth and hurt your feelings than to tell you what you want to hear and not get the best out of you. Like I don't lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give it to you straightforward. And I'd rather you hate me for telling you the truth.
Well, Coach, I mean, that was a really important message. You know, definitely stuck with me. I appreciate how real you are, because I feel like this game as a whole is missing people who are real and kind of sugarcoat things. But, you know, you telling it real definitely helped a lot of people. So, you know, I want to wish you the best of luck going forward. I can't wait to see what the Orlando Predators do in the new AFL. And have a great offseason, and reach out if you need anything.
I appreciate your time. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir.
I'm a game changer.
Thank you.